2010 Ultimate Builder Custom Bike Show in San Mateo, California. We're talking with Mike Vivona. Take a minute, Mike, and tell us about your background.
You know, I've been into bikes for about 15 years. I started on sport bikes, recently got into dirt bikes, had Harleys for a little bit. Always wanted to build a bike. Not anything in my background. I'm actually in sales and software sales. But back in 2006, I started to build this, and about a year and a half later, I was done, and here it is.
Let's start from the beginning. What were you trying to accomplish with this build, Mike?
You know, I wanted to build a full custom chopper, raked out, chopper with a Harley drivetrain. My big thing was I didn't want to put an Evo motor in it. I didn't want to put a RevTech or one of the other S&S motors. I wanted a true Harley-Davidson motor, Harley-Davidson drivetrain, Harley-Davidson primary bike that you could go to any Harley shop around the world and buy parts for.
What was your vision for this bike?
Like I said, a long raked out chopper, something with flames. I'm a big flame guy. I like the old kind of hot rod look. Long, low, loud, custom.
Oh, it's very nice.
Thank you.
You did a nice job integrating the Harley components into that to give you a custom bike.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell us about the fabrication on this.
Well, it was all done in my garage, with basic tools that just about anybody could get. It's got, the fenders were fabricated out of blank fenders. Handlebars are all hand fabricated. The tank was purchased and then extended about another inch to fit the frame a little bit better. Oil bag was purchased, cut both sides off, and redid the sheet metal on that. The frame was built by a guy like me, kind of in his garage. It was built for a Harley 88B motor. It was something that was a little bit hard to find, and when I finally did, I started with the frame and went from there.
How about the rear fender?
The rear fender was built also from a blank. I chopped it, built the internal struts, mounted it to the rear, and it has air ride in the back, so it sits nice and tight with the rear tire.
Let's talk about the engine. I know it's a basic Harley. Did you do any changes to it?
I didn't do any changes to it, and the reason I wanted a nice custom bike that I could rely on. I could go to any store, I could buy parts for it if I needed to. It doesn't have any internal work done to it. It starts right up and it runs just like a Harley.
Let's talk about the front end now. What are we seeing there?
Front end's raked 40 degrees in the neck, 6 degrees in the trees. It's 10 over in the front end. It's got a 21-inch front tire with the wraparound front fender that was built from the blank.
Let's move to the back end at this point. Let's talk about that. What's the tire size on that?
It's got a 240 rear tire. It's an 8.5 inch by 18-inch wheel. It's got the single side drive with the Exile Sproder. Again, it has air suspension with the hidden shocks under the frame and the short fender. That was also built out of the blank.
What about the wheels?
The wheels are from a company called Tight Customs. It was pretty much built to order. When I got it, I did have to take the hubs off and have them remachined to fit the frame. This motor, being a Harley motor and being how it mounts, there wasn't much room for spacing. So I was able to run a chain drive, and it clears by about 1/8 of an inch by the tire and the chain, so it works.
All right, let's talk about paint. Who did your paint?
Yeah, I actually did the paint.
Very nice.
So I had a little bit of experience painting bikes before I built this. But I didn't have a paint booth. I don't have any of the right equipment or shop, to paint that. But I actually painted this bike in my garage and in my backyard. So I did most of the body work in my garage, and I painted it in my backyard, and it came out great.
So the most challenging aspect of the paint is getting rid of bugs?
Exactly. Not having a paint booth, shooting it in the backyard with the trees around you and all the stuff flying around in the air, that was definitely the most challenging part of the paint job.
What companies were most instrumental in getting the bike finished?
I pretty much built most of the parts, like I said, in my garage. Harley was pretty much the most instrumental piece of the puzzle. with all the motor, drivetrain, all the electrical, pieces, and all the main parts of the bike were all Harley. So
Would you like to thank anybody?
Definitely friends and family, my wife, people who helped me through the process. It took about 1.5 years to build. Times got tough sometimes, trial and error, but ultimately it came out good, and I had a lot of support from everybody, so I'd like to thank everybody that helped me with it.
Mike, thanks. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you.